I'm good, thanks. And how are you?
I'm good. How are you finding Zimbabwe?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Enjoying your trip so far?
Yes, I am.
So I think first things first, if you could just give us a brief introduction to who you are and your role in the music industry.
Okay. Well, I'm Jack Mashala from South Africa. There's few South African artists that I work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I manage Musiq, yes, but there's other artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please don't be shy. Give us a rundown of who else you're working with.
Well, Skywhite is artist from Mozambique, and there's Kota Embassy they're also from South Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Those are like two ones but there's a couple of ones that I worked with previously.
All right.
And I also help other artists in terms of their administration and getting bookings, like your Tyler ICU. Like there's just more artists that I'm helping. Yes.
Perfect. So, with such a diverse history and let's say roster,
Yes.
how did you start on the administration side in the music industry? Can you give us a bit of your journey?
Well, you know, in most of the cases with like artists, when we start, we don't really know like what to do, where to go, and stuff like that. So it happened that one of our friend, you know, when Amos and Mess were starting out, they actually suggested me because I was helping them in most of the things that they were doing, like let's say getting gigs, stuff like that. Most of the ideas I was helping them. They were like, you know what, this is the perfect guy that can actually help you guys with that administration. Yeah.
So taking even a step back,
Yeah.
how were you in that position for you to be around what are now successful artists? Were you just always in the club? Were you in the studio?
You know, actually, let me take it like back. Like when I was young, my high school life, I was in the art school. I did drama, I did fine art, I did African song and dance. So because of that, I was passionate about like being in the art industry. So I tried soccer, they didn't work out. I tried sports, they didn't work out. So I found love within arts industry. Even the course that I did it with the perspective of thinking that I'm going to be in the art industry. You see, it didn't work out that way. You know, sometimes we don't have like enough resources to actually show you that, you know what, this career path that you're taking, it's going to lead you to this kind of a job. You see, so I ended up working in the lab. Yeah, worked in the lab for like 7 years. Then when I relocated from my home country, not like my hometown.
Okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine was close to Vinyl, and Vinyl was working with Mess.
Okay.
That's how we became close. So I spent most of the time around. So that passion of art revived.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how I actually got into that.
All right. I think you answered one of the questions I had, because everyone hates doing administration. Now I understand why you like administration so much.
Yeah. So that is it. That's it.
So speaking of administration, when you started working with the artists, what are one of the things that you noticed that they were missing out on that was really key on the back end in terms of admin?
In terms of admin, well, I would say, I'm not gonna talk about back then, but I'll say, can I state like things that are actually missing now? Well, in most of the artists that I come across with, they're not yet like professional, you know, like corporate professional. You know, they treat it as if us is like, it's just the music industry, I'm here, everyone knows me, then yeah, I can just go to the gig anytime I want to, you know, keeping time, not making the gigs clash, stuff like that. So those are the problems that we are actually having inside South Africa, and yeah, for now I would say inside South Africa. Most Amapiano artists. So I think if we could look at that, we'll take like the Amapiano industry to greater heights. Yeah.
Okay. I think that there's a few artist managers in here today, and
Okay.
you touched on something very important.
Yes.
You mentioned scheduling of gigs.
Scheduling of gigs, yeah.
So and get as nerdy as you can here, but
Yeah.
when, let's say, 3 promoters call you up and they
Yeah.
all wanna book you on a Friday night.
Yes.
On your side, how do you balance it to make sure that I can attend all these shows and get my artists from show 1 to 2 to 3 without disappointing the promoter? How do you approach it?
You need to check time. What time do they want you to be on stage? And what time, traveling time between the gigs. That's another most important thing that people tend to ignore, of which is very important, because now we do like 4 shows, 3 shows a night. You see, so most of the time I prioritize who came first. If the first promoter came first and he wants like peak time, then I will give him peak time. Then whoever that comes after I've concluded with the first promoter, then I start working on time. If you want 10 o'clock and it's 2 hours traveling time from your venue to the other venue, I offer you 8 o'clock. If you can't take 8 o'clock, you can't work. Because now I don't want to schedule to schedule a time that would affect the person that came first.
Okay.
So that's how I work out.
So from a practical standpoint, let's say you get to gig 1.
Yeah.
They might be running late.
They might be running late.
Yeah.
Everything is in the contract. You know, when we get there, when we agreed for 5 o'clock in the afternoon, everything must be ready by 5 o'clock. If I need to play for an hour, and by 5:30, let's say you put me on stage 5:30, then I'm gonna play 30 minutes and leave, because now the fact that you are not ready, it must not affect my schedule, because I also work on schedule. Yes, that's how it works.
Okay. So you stipulate in the contract that these are your working times.
Yes.
And that's when you leave.
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever had a situation where the promoter pushes back on that?
We are open to negotiating, because sometimes you find that I don't have gigs that day. I'm just coming for you. You know, if you want to extend, like if you want me to like not play at 5, play at 6, and there's nothing after that, then I'm open to doing that. But whatever that we agree on, it must not affect me. Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned working with Amapiano acts and the sound of Amapiano growing, especially during and after the pandemic.
Yes.
What do you think has helped Amapiano grow as quickly as it has?
COVID. No, like I'm being honest, COVID. Most of the people are at home, they're not doing anything now, just listening to music. You know, then you come across this genre that you like most of the people, when they like it, then they tend to trend. You see, so I think perfect timing again, like TikTok things, those are the things that are introduced now. You see, so they make like sound trend very quick. Yes, that's why even now major labels they go to TikTok to fish for artists. They check TikTok, okay, who's trending? Is this artist signed? Or who is this artist working with? Then they reach out to you. You know, so I would say the introduction of TikTok, COVID, people being at home, so it helped a lot for the genre to move very quick.
Okay. So now we're out of COVID.
Yes.
You guys are finally touring.
Yes.
What are you doing now that people want to book your acts? How are you making yourself accessible? How are you making it easy for people to book you guys?
Well, book us in terms of availability or in terms of reaching out to those countries. Some of them, okay, I would say in terms of reaching to the countries, it's more like collaborating with artists from certain countries. It has helped a lot in terms of South African artists moving around. Like we have Guest Star by Foka and Video, so that thing helps. It helped like Foka to be able to get gigs in Nigeria. You see, yeah.
All right. And now back to some of the artists you work with. House Music's project's been huge. I think Wemushle and Sengezile have been massive. I think see them everywhere. Like on the back end, what are some of the tips and tricks that you are using to push that song out as far as you have?
To be quite honest with you, ne? And in most of the cases, we don't identify which song that people will like. The people themselves, they will tell you which song is the one. You know, we can plan the whole project. It's 5 songs. Okay, the first song is going to be like a hit. We like the first song, but only to find out like people like the last song, the one that they didn't even think of it. So that's how it happens. That's why I normally tell artists, don't be afraid to release music. You know, release music, then wait for feedback from people. Yeah, I mean, Sengezile was released last year. Last year around this time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, last year December, November. But it catched fire now. Summer, South African summer. Now after September, October, that's when it catched fire. Nice. So you won't really say which one people would like. You just need to do the music that you like and you think the people will like also. Because most of the cases, people would do music for themselves, but they want people to like the music. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You see, so that one also it's a challenge. You need to, as an artist yourself, you need to understand what is it that you want, and let's say you want to blow, like you want to be like out there everywhere. You want everyone to know you. Then you need to understand what everyone out there like, then so that you can do stuff that they like. That's why in most of the cases you find when artists are starting out, they're doing what people like. After 5 years or 7 years of being in the music industry, they're doing what they're comfortable with, what they like. Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying as you're building your audience and building your sound, start tailoring your music to what the audience will like first, and then when you've grown, you can start making music.
Yeah, because now you have influence. You have the audience in your hands. So you can influence the audience to like what you like.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So getting back into the nitty-gritties, like on a day-to-day, what does your day look like? When you wake up, how do you structure your day?
My day, it depends on my to-do list. Like if there's contracts that I need to send to promoters, I also reach out to promoters for gigs, check our schedule, when are we free, you know, like we came to Zim now, né? Let's say maybe we didn't have a gig today or tomorrow, I'll probably look at the promoters that once contacted me around Zim and contact them and say, you know what, on this day I'm around Zim, I'm performing here. Are you guys open to taking us the following day, or you know? That's what I normally do. That's what I do on a daily basis.
Alright. So even within that, like, how do you keep track of who contacted you from them? Because I'm sure your phone is filled with messages coming in every day.
Yeah.
How do you save and categorize those contacts?
I know mostly it's WhatsApp chat. So if you go to WhatsApp search, just type Zimbabwe, then everyone from everyone from Zimbabwe will just come. Then you know it's that too. Or look at the previous conversation, then you record. Oh, this one wanted us in Gweru. Okay, now we start to talk.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough. You mentioned contracts earlier. You didn't mention anything about a legal background. Do you have any information or ideas about free resources that artist managers can use to help brush up on contracts or get contract templates or anything that you guys use for your contracts?
Yeah, but honestly, at the end you need to have like a lawyer that you're working with, because now those contracts mostly they're just basic stuff. You know, you're gonna take a basic contract stuff and use it for someone that is major, then at the end of the day it ends up backfiring. So I'd advise to have like, even if it's a friend that does law, you know, not really an entertainment lawyer, because sometimes they could be expensive. But when you're starting out, have a friend that is a lawyer that can just look at the contract, scan it, then give you feedback. Yes.
Alright. So you're clearly a very busy man. The past 2 years, especially around COVID, like mental health in the music industry has become like a hot topic. What are you doing to just look after yourself, make sure your artist is looked after and well rested?
Knowledge. I'll say knowledge. Understanding the music industry holistically, it makes a person not to have too much stress, because now I'm gonna give an example. South African entertainment, Amapiano artists mostly are booked from summer, which is like after September going forward. So if you want to get a lot of gigs winter time, summer, of which it's impossible. So such information, it makes a person to relax. You see, not to expect things at the wrong time. Because if you expect things at the wrong time, that's when you start to stress. Why am I not getting this thing right? Why are other people having 5 gigs and I don't have any gigs? Stuff like that. So if you educate yourself about understanding the industry itself, how it operates, then it would also lessen that pressure of stressing yourself in terms of what you need. Because mostly what stresses us is the things that we need. It's our desires, our own desires are the ones that are actually stressing us. So being able to control that, it lessens the pressure and the stress.
In recent years, I think throughout the music industry, there have always been like spats between artists and management, discrepancies and so forth. You work with a bunch of artists. How have you built those relationships and how have you built trust to maintain those relationships throughout the years?
Mostly it's like, when you're doing a good work, everyone wants to come back with you see. And some people, they may look at you and think, that person is doing a good work. When it comes to you, then you start discussing the working terms, you find that you don't agree. You see. So it's all about the agreement between the artist and the manager. And are we both keeping what we agreed on? Yeah. Because what comes first, it's for me as a manager, and also a manager that take booking for other artists. What comes first, it's my clients. You see, to give an example, Unplugged, they booked that for yesterday. Technically, Unplugged is my client. You see, so I wouldn't want to mess up the relationship because of a certain artist that just he got booked, he does not want to come to the gig, stuff like that. So yeah, such things those are the things that causes conflict between artists and the manager. There's few artists that I stopped working with because they didn't pitch for gigs. You see, if you don't pitch for gigs, I can't expect the same relationship for Butterfly. You see, if maybe Butterfly is working with me. So I'll tell you, I think we can't work because now you don't want to play your part, but I'm playing my part. You see, if you don't play your part, you're affecting my relationship. And if it's affecting my relationship, I look unprofessional. And I cannot expect that relationship further with other artists that I'm working with.
That's good advice. But you also just spoke on something really important, is the ability to say no.
Yeah.
Saying no is really hard in this industry because people are worried about the next thing. They might not come.
Yeah.
How do you get to a point where you're comfortable saying no?
Well, it depends. It depends on what grounds, if I may ask.
So let's say, like you mentioned,
give me an example.
I'm talented. I've got Song of the Summer.
Yes.
But I don't pitch. Like 2 weeks in a row, I don't pitch for gigs.
You don't pitch for gigs.
And so now you need to have a conversation with me. But I'm your biggest client.
Yeah.
How do you have the confidence to kick me off your roster, even though I'm producing hits? I'm just not pitching for gigs. How do you say no to that, or how do you start that conversation?
The way it is, you're not pitching for gigs, and that thing is affecting you. So there's no way that I could work with you, or just get someone else that will handle your thing.
But I'm making hits, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, the artist that I'm talking, I won't mention a name. He's making hits. Like, he's making like extremely hits. Yeah, he's one of the best. I mean, like, when I mean the best, I mean like the best.
I think I know you're talking about.
Only promoters would know, yeah. Because probably they had like maybe they once have something they didn't pitch also, yeah. So it's a problem. It's a problem that needs to be fixed because now it's affecting a lot of things. Sometimes you find, it's even affecting artists that are not that are clean. Because now, let's say we based in Harare, we are booked in Gweru. I don't know how far it's Gweru. I'm just gonna make an example. Maybe 7 hours to travel from here to Gweru. Then we are performing on a Friday. Some promoters, they wouldn't book accommodation. They would actually confirm accommodation on arrival and start to make payments on arrival. You get what I mean? So now that it comes from artists that don't pitch. They're trying to limit their losses, their risk. You see, so you get an artist that is honest, pitch on time, and all of that, and he has to deal with that. It's a problem for that artist because now sometimes they just want to get there early, relaxed. It's not nice to get to a place, then you start looking for accommodation, stuff like that. It's not nice. We want stuff prepared prior because sometimes we jump from gig to gig. We could spend like 3 days away, jumping from gig to gig, checking in, check out, checking in, check out. You see, so it won't be nice when we leave the first gig, going to the second gig. Now we have to have that problem of accommodation and all of that. You see, because the promoter wants to lessen his risk. What if this artist doesn't come? You see, so it's something that most of our brothers there in South Africa, they must look at in terms of professionalism and all of that. Yeah.
All right. So, as a manager, how involved are you in the creative process with the artist?
I try not to. I try to give advices, but not to control the creative process of the artist. He must just do what he's best with. As much as I wouldn't want him to come and tell me, his contract, yeah. That's administration stuff. Let me come and give you feedback. This is what I think is best for us. This is how we can move. You see? Yeah.
Okay. So even like in the event, you might have a talented artist who had a few hits a few years back, and now the music isn't resonating as much. Yeah. You wouldn't like even just advise and say, maybe let's try this or do this.
I'd advise, but I can't use FL. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I can't use Fruity Loops at all. I don't know like how to make a song, but I can. I show you, I can make an artist get gigs.
Yeah.
You see. So in terms of coming up with strategies that would make an artist get gigs, that one I can help. Like, we want to penetrate Tanzania. Who in Tanzania can we make song with? What kind of a sound in Tanzania is currently moving, you see, and try to create connection around that area. It's like maybe possibly try to do a song with Mario, in Tanzania, then possibly something would come out.
Okay.
Yeah, and what I said the first time, release music. Don't keep music with you. There's a lot of artists that are keeping like the whole terabyte is full with songs that it's full with songs that are unreleased. You see, and you want to break it out there, but you're not releasing. See, it doesn't really make sense. So release. There's one artist in South Africa used to release like last year. He once had a hit. 2017 is one of the pioneers of Amapiano. He's been doing piano for quite a long time. He was releasing an EP every month. I think after 7 or 6 releases, he got a hit. Then he came back. Yeah. So They must just release. Yeah.
So back to the admin side, like through the course of this workshop, I think one of the recurring themes has been the importance of split sheets and agreeing with collaborations. What's your view on splits, when to agree on them and how to go about it, especially when you have a hit now?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah. Theoretically, they're saying after a song or maybe before doing a song, you need to discuss you getting 5%, I'm getting 5%. But practically, that thing is not really that. That thing is not. It's hard to do, because I'm gonna give you an example. I'm with you. We're in a club. You are an artist. I'm an artist. We are drunk. We are vibing. Then we come up with a concept. Let's go record this. Let's go record this thing now. Then where's the time to now discuss everything? Because your manager must be there, my manager must be there. You understand? So we can come up to conclusion that, you know what, you're taking 50%, I'm taking 50%. You see, so theoretically that's how like it should be done, but sometimes it gets tricky. You know, there's songs that trended because people left the club and went straight to the studio. They recorded. Then while they are recording, someone has his phone. Then within a day, that thing is blown. You see. So now it becomes a challenge when it comes to the administration. You see, it's not done before. And if it's not done before, you can easily say, no, this is my song. I can say, nah, it's my song, because I see now the reaction of the audience. You see, so it also depends on how people are loyal to each other. You see, because if it's that case, if it's in that case whereby we left the club, went to the studio, recorded the song, and it's now trending, we come back, we sit after, then we talk everything. But if it's something that it's arranged prior, let's say I spotted you, you know what, I'm interested in working with you, then that conversation, it can easily come in terms of split sheet and all of that. Yeah, but sometimes it gets tricky.
So let's say it's gotten tricky. Your artist comes to you and says, hey, we've got a hit on our hands, but the artists I've collaborated with, we can't come to an agreement. Do you step in? And if you do, what are some of the things that you do to help smooth things over?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we need to be fair to each other. You know, we need to agree on terms that are going to benefit you and are also going to benefit me. You see, so that's the important thing, and making sure that the relationship it's not messed. Yeah.
Fair enough. I think I'll have one more question, and then we'll go to questions, because I know you've got a flight to catch, so we don't want to keep you too long. How would you gauge or encourage an artist to work? So let's say, for example, you mentioned an artist who's dropping an EP every month.
Yes.
That's probably the upper end of work rate.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time where you felt, you know, I don't think this artist is doing enough in the studio? And if you do feel that way, how do you have the conversation with them, like, hey, I think you might need to up your work rate?
Okay, one of the strategies that I've been doing recently is to take that artist from his comfortable workspace and put him with other people that are working. Because sometimes you think you're doing things right, but once you are with other people, then you start to develop other skills. Oh, this thing is not done like this. This is the way we do. Then the creativity, it tends to be better than when he's working alone. Like if you check, most of South African artists, they work in groups. You see, they work in groups. If you check Piano Hub, there's like 5 producers working together. You check other groups, you know, Javani and his team, they're working in groups. So when you're working alone, in most of the cases, you tend to lack certain stuff. But then when you are in a group, you become better.
Alright. Yeah. Alright, fair enough. I think for now we can go to the audience if you guys have questions. I think let's start with Diana.
My main question is, when you have multiple gigs in one town. We have cases where the promoters say we can't be advertising another gig when we have another gig in the same town, in the same space. Or does it not really apply in the Amapiano sector?
You know, it does apply. Usually with me, I'm gonna talk about me,
Okay.
not other people. With me, what I do, I don't take gigs that are close. If I'm taking the next gig, it should be 2 hours or 1 hour away from my main gig, so that when both they advertise, then it doesn't create problem. Because I know also in Nelspruit, the promoters in Nelspruit, they have got like WhatsApp group, stuff like that. So if I book someone, then you guys are not allowed to book that person. You see, so it boils down to the communication of the promoters around the area, and also the communication of the main person that is booking the artist to the artist. If you want exclusivity, or I don't know, or he does not want exclusivity. You see, because that thing, they do it a lot. I think, what's that festival they do in Ghana?
Afro Nation.
Yeah, they would book artists there and they say, we don't want you to take gigs in Ghana for the next coming 3 months, of which it's in the contract.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Jack. Really appreciate the time.
No.
A lot of great insights.
Hi, I'm Jack. We just did the Unplugged Music Industry Workshop. It was nice, it was fantastic. We talked about the manager's responsibility, artist to manager, manager to promoter, booking agency to promoter. Everything was nice. Catch it, catch it, catch it.